Blog Talk Radio.
Sound.com. Welcome everyone to today's Earth Energy Forecast Show on this Tuesday, August 13th, 2019. Thank you for joining us today, or if you're listening later in the archive or on Stitcher or Apple Podcast. Water. We need it for life and so much more, as we will discuss in next week's show. But for some on the planet, there's just too much water right now. The recent typhoon in China was the worst in years, causing major damage. Japan has been hit with 3 tropical cyclones in as many weeks, and the land down under is experiencing record snow. China scientists warn about global cooling, and the journal Nature just published an article stating that Antarctic icebergs can weaken and delay the effects of global warming in the southern hemisphere. As the weather continues to change and the world along with it, we may be experiencing high levels of stress. How can we support ourselves naturally through these times? Today's guest, herbalist Andrea Stines, is going to offer some plant-based suggestions to bolster our immunity, mood, etc., and to help us through this time of great change. Andrea's passion for herbs, healing, and the wisdom of plants led her to study Western herbalism at the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts in 2007. She worked as the facilitator of the Healing Journey Master Project and Farmers Market Project. In her clinical practice, Andrea teaches herbalism, crafts, formulates, and blends herbal remedies in small batches, offers custom herbal formulations and private consultations. Her website is herbsfromtheheart.com. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Wow, thank you, Joan. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here today. So,
thank you.
How did you get started in loving all these herbs and using herbs and plants?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a different story. It wasn't anything that I knew, like from a young age, that I wanted to venture into. When my kids were teenagers, I was looking to continue education and really looking for a path to grow and to learn from. And I sat in on a Western herbalism class at SWEHA and just really found it interesting and thought, well, okay, I was really interested in natural food, natural healing, and wanted to go more into that path. However, I didn't know anything about herbs at that time. And so I just decided to continue with the program. And it literally changed my life. I feel like the plants drew me in and called me in. It's just one of those things in your life where you step into it, but I felt like it had always been waiting for me. So it's really exciting to look back on how I fell into it and where I am now with the herbs. And it's a continual learning, a continual process of connecting and growth of learning, from nature and plants. And yeah, something I'm very, very grateful for And looking back in my life, I see, as a child, my father would talk to the plants, and growing up in Wyoming, I was in nature a lot. So in hindsight, I'm able to see the connection and see how it all came together so beautifully.
Yes. So did you, or do you now, ever go out and just be in nature and be with plants and learn from them, or like your father did, talk to them?
I do, absolutely. I live in Sedona, so I hike regularly, probably 3 times a week, and if not more. I do always I have a beautiful yard with lots of trees, pine trees, and lots of nature. I'm surrounded by a lot of nature, so I do make a practice of meditation, and also sitting with the plant. And what I like to do, and I do teach some students in the Western Herbalism class at SWIHA, and what I often suggest is to sit down near a plant, meditate to calm the mind, and then open your heart and see your heart energy, your heart vibration opening and surrounding, reaching out, if you will, to the plant, and vice versa. If you can picture or sense or feel the energy of the plant coming out, and also connecting with myself. And to sit with that and listen to what the plant might have to say. And that message can come in many different forms. Sometimes it may come in a direct, clear message. Sometimes plants aren't willing to communicate right away. They want to spend time with you. And some plants are real chatty, and they're just really excited to communicate right away. And also it might be in another form of feeling something, and maybe the plant is telling you, like you might feel a little anxiety, or you might feel a little stress, and that plant might be telling you that's exactly what it can help you with.
Mm-hmm. So is this possibly the way that Native Americans found certain plants for healing?
Absolutely. I do really believe that that's true. Yes. And, they lived their life in nature. They were nature. So they had this gift, this ability to really connect with the plants in they looked to nature for guidance, and were really, really connected on all levels for their survival, for their everyday living, their well-being, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So does
I feel that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I also feel that the more we are able to connect with nature, with plants, we create a communication. They're aware of this desire, this reaching out to them, and as a result, they communicate more with us. It's like a feedback loop. And when we go to the same place, so I also like to make sure that I sit with the same plant for a while, and it's developing a relationship. Or when I hike in nature and I go on the same path, I get a sense that the trees and the rocks and the nature are aware of my presence, and aware that I come to that area often to connect to them and listen to what they have to say.
Beautiful. So does the personality, like the chattiness of the plant, does that correlate at all with its healing properties?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely. I think, all of the communication that it's giving you is a sign of its healing. So it could be, and it varies per individual. I mean, there's so many qualities to the plants, and so it's important to match that up with the individual that is taking the plant medicine.
Mm-hmm. Something similar to homeopathy, to match the remedy with whatever the patient is experiencing, or their behavior, or their mental state, or
exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's energetics to the plants, so plants can be cooling. Some plants can be cooling. Some plants can be very warming. Some more drying, or some moisturizing. So depending on the individual, and that's the beauty. We are gifted with all these amazing medicines on earth, and so sometimes it's just finding the right plant for the
Mm-hmm.
individual. So, for example, there's a whole array of nervines, but it's finding the right one for the person that's taking it.
What else can plants teach us besides, this is what you can use me for your healing? What else can they teach us? What else have you learned from conversing with plants?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a great question. I think they can. It's endless, and I find that they hold the wisdom of the stars, of the earth, of the moon, of the rain, of the wind, because they reside in nature. They are created by divine spirit, by God, and they have this innate intelligence that is so profound and can be unbeknownst to us. So they can get in and work in ways that we may not even be aware of. And so at different times, and they know when to teach us and what to teach us according to what we need at those times. So, for example, I might be out on a walk, and I'll hear little messages like slow down, or just if I tune in, or I'll get different feelings according to what I need at that time. And they love to communicate. For example, one time I was watering roses, and I had just slipped into that place of nothingness, and then I heard the roses thanking me for the watering. So what they were teaching and showing me was gratitude, and that that they are there, they are listening, and it was the sweetest little voice, like thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, so beautiful too, and also that we're not alone. We are not alone in this journey. We have the plant kingdom, and they are our allies in many ways. They are here to help us and to support us. And it's a matter of us being open to that support and connecting with them, listening to them, and forming that communication.
Yes, when I look at plants and the intelligence of plants, for example, a weed that may look like another plant that may be like a vegetable plant or something, or a flower, and it grows right next to it. And it just shows me that there is this higher intelligence that's within everything, For me, that's the greatest proof that there's a cosmic mind, that there's this intelligence that runs through everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's beautiful.
So we know these plants and herbs can support us. How can they support us during these changing times that we're in? We are getting bombarded by electromagnetic smog, pollution of all kinds, whether it's air pollution and poor for the poor plants, for the soil pollution and air pollution too, and then acid rain, you name it. It just goes on and on. How can they help us through these times? And what herbs can we use for certain stressors?
Right. Absolutely. Well, I love the category of adaptogens, and these are herbs that help our bodies deal with stress. And like you said, there's many forms of stress, whether that be environmental, the water that we drink that is full of pollutants, or toxins in our food, anxiety, stress, lack of sleep. I mean, there's so many different stressors that we experience. That is just the world that we live in today. So I love adaptogens because they support the endocrine system, they support our immune system, also our nervous system, and really just are there to help the body deal with stress. And so some of these adaptogens could be like ashwagandha, which is really one of my favorites because it is a calming adaptogen. And so as a result of calming, it can give us energy. It's for any type of debility. It also really supports the thyroid, is high in iron, and helps with insomnia, which so many of us experience a lot of these symptoms today. And then there's so that's one adaptogen, and there's a whole category such as American ginseng or Schisandra, Eulithro. So again, it's finding the right adaptogen for your body type and where you are at when you are taking the herb and what's needed at that time.
So, for example, I'm living out on the East Coast. You're more towards the West Coast. Would it be better for my body, because I'm more in tune or in frequency with nature here, that I use an herb that grows naturally here versus something that grows out in the Southwest?
Absolutely. Yes, I love using herbs that are in your area and connecting with the herbs nearby. But I do work with a lot of herbs, so you may not be able to find ashwagandha in your area or some of these herbs that would really be beneficial for what's going on with you. But in terms of just dealing with the stressors that we are experiencing because of the changes in our environments, yes, I would say it's beneficial to use the herbs that are closest to you.
If possible, yes. Okay.
If possible. But if not, the other herbs, you still have a selection of other herbs that are amazing.
So there's herbs that are under this broader category of adaptogens that can help us with our immune system or support the endocrine system or the nervous system. Are there any other herbs that you really, your go-to herb, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So what I find is, again, and I like to create formulas to support. So again, I start with an adaptogen, and then I often will include nervines. And that is another category that I just absolutely love because they are very supportive to our nervous system. And the nervous system is so important to keep us calm, also to help us deal with these daily stressors. So they help us with stress, anxiety, maybe some panic attacks, also overthinking. And again, that can come from, especially people that are very empathic, or from just the changes that we're experiencing as a result of the changes on Earth. So the nervines, I think really supporting the nervous system is vital. That is very, very important. And that can also support us with sleep, which again keeps us, if we're not getting sleep, we're not grounded, we're depleted. And in order to handle these changes and adapt, it's really important for us to be grounded and be getting the sleep that we need, and to be nourishing and taking care of our bodies so that we stay strong and grounded in this. And so nervines are a great classification of herbs that can support us in that way. And so some nervines are passion flower, which I really love. It really is beneficial for a chattering mind. Lavender is very calming and can help with digestion. Also, milky oats. That's one of my favorite herbs because it is a deep restorative on a very deep level to the nervous system. So I like to use that herb with people that are burning the candle on both ends, that are, really just driven and really going. And so this can support on a really deep level.
And can you use any of these in the, make a tincture out of this, or are they teas, or how do you craft these? Or, for example, with the milky oats, how would you craft that to give that formula to a client?
Absolutely. I use it in a tincture, and I really like the tinctures because they do get into the bloodstream, and especially for those people that are very busy and have busy schedules and don't have the time to make a tea or an infusion or decoction. So it's easy. You put a couple dropperfuls in a little bit of water and drink it several times a day. So very effective and easy way to take herbs. I do also make tea blends, and I love tea blends. And I find specifically teas for digestion are really great because we take that and it goes through our digestive system. And also in terms of the nervous system, that's a great way to get people to slow down. On the other end, if they can and if they will take the time to make a tea or an infusion, they can connect, with that process. It's also a healing and a form of getting someone to slow down, steep the tea, and drink it, enjoy it. So I like that too. So, and there's also other forms. You can apply herbs externally. So infusing lavender in an organic olive oil, and then applying that to the body and taking a warm bath or shower after you've applied that will open the pores, and the oil and the herb is absorbed into the body. And that's really fantastic for the nervous system. It coats and soothes the nerves and calms.
So for those people that aren't well read and know a lot about herbs and herbalism, would you please explain to us the different ways that you can prepare these herbs? You've talked about tinctures and teas and concoctions and all of that. Can you explain what those are and how you would use that herb in that process?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So firstly, tinctures it's in a bottle with a dropper. Usually you can purchase it at local health food stores, Whole Foods or Sprouts, those type of stores. And so what you do is you just squeeze the dropper, and as far as it fills up is considered a dropper, and put that in a little shot of water and drink it. And what that is that the medicinal properties are extracted into alcohol and that is the herbal medicine. And so you can find tinctures in simples, so single herbs, or in formulas. And they are formulated according to the health condition or according to what an individual needs. So that's a tincture. Secondly, an infusion would be with a dried herb or with a fresh herb plant. And what you would do with that is boil water, and then you pour it over the plant material and let it steep for maybe 20 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, depending on how strong you want it and the purpose of the use. So if I'm using it for very medicinal purposes and I want it really strong, I would steep that for a longer period of time. And what will happen is you will pull out all the medicinal properties from that plant into the water, and then you can drink it as a tea. And the plant parts that are best used in an infusion are usually the flowers or the leaves of a plant. And next would be a decoction, and that is more for your barks and your seeds. And that you would just boil the herbs in water for, again, a period on a very low heat of maybe 10 to 30 minutes. And then you have a strong decoction. You would strain that and then drink that.
Okay,
so
very
those
good.
are just, a tincture, an infusion, and a decoction. And those are internal ways to take herbs. You could also make syrups. So with your infusion or your decoction, you can add honey to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a great way to get kids to take herbs. Or you can then, with that syrup, you could add it to foods like pancakes or oatmeal, or even add it to sparkling water to make a really nice, delicious, calming, soothing beverage.
Mm-hmm. The elderberry syrup would be great for immune boosting.
Absolutely. Yes. So, the beauty, again, we're not alone. We have these plant allies, and the uses and the applications are really endless. I mean, you can think of so many ways to include them in our food, and it's just get creative and have fun. I even like to use maybe a decoction. I love to put a reishi mushroom, which is called a spirit plant in Chinese herbalism. So it calms the spirit, or the shen, which resides in our heart. Great for allergies, the liver, the heart. And so I love to keep a crock pot full of that going for like 3 days. And then I will just take from it and I add it to my coffee, or I will use it in my cooking, like in my oatmeal. I'll use that in place of water. So I'm getting that nutrition, the calming, all the benefits from that in my food, and throughout the day I find different ways to take it. And then as I take my cups from the crock pot, I'll just add more water. And then after 3 days, I start over again. So I have that support brewing for me at all times.
Well, that's a great idea. And when you're using herbs, I'm imagining you want to use organic herbs.
Absolutely. Yes. I always recommend organic or wild-crafted.
Mm-hmm.
So with the wild-crafted, you actually are picking the herbs from the wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if someone wanted to learn how to do this on their own, do you provide classes, or is there some way they could learn more about this from you?
I do offer classes in the valley or in different locations, and there are a number of herbal programs in different areas, or also a large number of online programs that are really fantastic.
Any of those that you like?
I do. I like Michael and Leslie Tierra East West School, and so it incorporates some Chinese herbalism.
Mm-hmm.
I also am really loving evolutionary herbalism. That's another great online program. And anything by Rosemary Gladstar. She's really fantastic, and she's really somebody who's first learning and newly stepping into this. She's a great place to start.
Wonderful. So you also craft and formulate and blend these remedies for your clients. So if I wanted to say, well, okay, I need something for stress. I'm very stressed at work. I'm stressed at home. I'm stressed with this. And I call you up. You could craft a remedy for me and then send it to me?
Yes,
or do
absolutely.
I have to go there in person?
No, we can do it over the phone. And I do love doing personal consultations. And the reason for that is that I can get very specific. So what I do is I have you fill out a health intake form, and then we'll get together over the phone, and we'll take a look at what is going on with you specifically. So I like to delve in and partner with you and talk about the stresses in your life, look at your diet. Are you sleeping? Do you have how does the stress affect your body? So stress can affect us in different ways. So for some people, it might be more on the musculoskeletal system. For some, it might be more in the mind, or some, it might hit their digestive system. So, picking those correct herbs according to what you're experiencing and what your body type is. So with the consultation, we'll take a look at all of that. We also, look at how are your relationships? So it's the whole body. It's a whole picture of what's going on with you specifically. And then we'll talk again a second time, and I will present you with a protocol which will consist of dietary suggestions, lifestyle suggestions, and your herbal tincture that is formulated specifically for you, as well as an herbal tea for you as well. And then I will blend those formulas together and send them to you.
And then is there a follow-up after that, Andrea?
Absolutely. So I like to follow up about a month after when you've finished your first bottle. So I start with a 4-ounce bottle, and that lasts about 3 weeks to a month. And so we do a follow-up at that point just to see how everything's working for you and how you're feeling. Now, the general rule of thumb is that it's 3 to 6 months. It can be 3 to 6 months. You want to give it that length of time for the herbs to really get in and start working. However, you can feel a difference, sooner than that. And keep in mind, for a lot of us, it took us a while to get to the state that we're in when we're seeking help. So you do want to give the herbs time to get in and do the work. So at a month, we'll check in. And then again, at 3 months, I like to do another follow-up. And the beauty to this is that we can keep adjusting. If we need to adjust the herbs as you're progressing, we can do that. And that's why the follow-ups are really important.
Yes, and it's important to note that this takes time. People nowadays like to take a pill and make something go away. And this takes time. Like you said, it took a while to get to this point in you physically, and so you have to give these herbs a chance to work within you. And I also wanted to say that you mentioned out in the valley. I just want to say that you're in the Phoenix area in Arizona, so that people would know where you are. I have listeners all over the world, so we want to let you know.
Oh, thank you for that.
That's where, well, that valley, out in the valley.
Right. But
She's in Phoenix, and it goes on and on forever.
Right.
The whole metro area. Yeah, you can drive for an hour and a half and still not get to the other end.
Right. It's a big area.
That it is.
But I also love, I have clients in Texas. I send herbs all over the United States. I have an online store. So, and I'm just, always just so excited to connect with people wherever they are and to, form that connection and that relationship. So, it's a relationship with the plants, and also I love developing a relationship with my clients. So it's something that it's a healing journey that we venture on together, because it's not like your typical allopathic medicine. We're doing this together and communicating and really taking care of the person and what they need and addressing the changes as they're moving along. And that's a beautiful relationship.
I'm sure there's another question on neophytes' minds, like, I've never done this before. There's always side effects to allopathic medicine. Are there any side effects to certain herbs?
Absolutely. It is herbal. The herbs, you do want to approach this with great respect, because there are some herbs that you would use a smaller dosage or have contraindications. So depending on for example, licorice root is contraindicated with hypertension. So it is an herb that you would not want to give somebody who has hypertension. So it is, knowing your herbs and also knowing what's going on with the individual to make sure that you're using the right herbs for them and not giving them something that could be harmful.
And also, I'm imagining that there's some herbs that will interact with other medicines that a client may be taking, allopathic medicine.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
And so you have to know that that's part of your intake then, is to find out if they're
That's
taking
part of
it.
the intake.
Mm-hmm,
Correct.
mm-hmm.
Yes. So we do look at medications, and take all of that into consideration, because that is very, very important. And so also, picking the right herb.
Yes, yes. So this is something that really you need to be trained in. It's not something you should just go to the store, pick up, and just, I'll just make a tea on my own and do this. You really need to know what you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I want to stress that with people. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there are some very, safe, gentle herbs. But like anything, if you take too much of it, or it can be harmful, or not the best plant for you.
Or interact with your medications, or increase your blood pressure, like you were talking about. So,
exactly. And you're right. I don't know that everybody is aware. It is a science. It is a knowing of the plant constituents, and how they work in the body, and how they interact with the body and other medications.
And that's why they should go to an herbalist to get the information, because they've been trained in all of this, and then you can choose the herbs that are best for the client.
Correct. Yes.
And so if they wanted to order herbs from you, they would go to your website, Andrea?
Correct.
Is that the best way to contact?
Herbs from the Heart. Herbsfromtheheart.com. I do have an online store. Yes, and so they can order from that website. They can also set up a consultation. I have information on my consultations on that website, or they can contact me on my phone at 480-276-0199 if they want to talk, and find out more information, and just kind of get a feel for what I do. And if they have questions, anybody's welcome to call.
Well, very good. Are there any generic, maybe topical applications that people could use that you could recommend, like lavender, for example, to help calm us, to help us through these times? Is there anything generic at all that you could recommend?
Absolutely, yes. Lavender is a great one. And like I said earlier, the infusing lavender in oil and then applying the oil topically is really great for the nervous system. Also, herbal baths are really relaxing and calming to the nervous system. So you could use herbs like lavender or chamomile and make a tea with it. So first I suggest making a tea infusion, pouring boiling water over the herbs, and then steeping it, and you have a nice tea. And then you can pour that into your bath, and your body will absorb the properties of those herbs. And so such a nice way with the water to calm the nervous system, as well as drinking a cup while you're taking a bath.
Right.
Right?
That sounds great. Yeah. So if I were going to... Go ahead.
Even, just the thought of that, I don't know, can you feel, Joan, how calming and wonderful that is?
Yeah, right now I just wish I had a bathtub.
Yes. Or,
Or a foot bath. I can always do a foot soak, yeah.
A foot soak, absolutely. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's just endless if you get really creative. I love foot soaks with herbs. Again, making an infusion and pouring it into a big, beautiful bowl with some rocks. And so that would be very grounding. Put some rocks or some crystals on the bottom of it, and some salts and your herbs. And so you can choose, relaxing or even some detoxing herbs, depending on what you're needing, is another great way if you can't take a bath.
Okay, do you have a recipe for infusing lavender and oil? Like, how much oil, how much lavender, and can it be dried lavender? Does it have to be fresh? And what do we do with it?
Yes, so what I would do is you can use fresh lavender or dried lavender, and I fill up a mason jar with the lavender. So this is a folk way to make an infused oil. So I just fill up the mason jar with the lavender, fresh or dried, and then I pour my oil over it. And again, I would use an organic oil and organic lavender or wild-crafted lavender, and just pour the oil over the lavender above, about half an inch above, so it's totally covered with the lavender oil. And then I put the lid on it, and I'll let it sit in the cupboard or in the windowsill for a couple weeks, and shake it every day. So you also are connecting with it, with the medicine, as you shake it daily, and sending it good intentions, and vice versa. And then after that period of time, you can strain it through a cheesecloth and a strainer, and then you have this beautiful lavender infused oil.
And then you can use that to put into your bath water, or
into your bath water, or even apply it to your skin, to your body.
Directly. Okay.
Directly, directly, and then take a bath. And the warm water from the bath or the shower, or a shower as well, will open up the pores, and then the oil is absorbed more into the body.
Very nice. I can do it. I have a shower.
Yes.
Hey. I can always put it for the foot soak too. So.
And then you'll find that you'll just love it so much, and it might become a weekly routine. Right. And so again, the plants are just, they are our allies. They are here to support us. We're here on Earth, and we are given nature and plants as allies to support us through these times. And what a beautiful thing. Also, even just going out in nature and connecting and sitting with the plants is another form of support and healing.
Definitely. Anything else you want to share with us today, Andrea? Any other favorite herbs? Words of wisdom?
Also, the medicinal mushrooms are another one of my favorites, such as I talked a little bit about the reishi and shiitake mushrooms, maitake, lion's mane. Lion's mane is really an amazing herb for the brain and for memory, and again, the reishi for our spirit, for calming, and that's another great class. They're adaptogenic and also really supportive to our immune system, our nervous system. So those I love, and I use those herbs quite often.
Oh, that sounds good too. I don't know where to start. I guess with a call to you then, Andrea.
To keep it simple, really, I mean, as you start this journey, even just taking a couple herbs or drinking a cup of simple chamomile tea is a beautiful way to take in plants and herbs, and it will begin to work in our bodies to calm us, to calm and nourish us. And also, like I said, they work in ways unknown to us. And then they take us on this journey. And then you can find that you'll be, including more herbs here or more herbs there, or adding a little bit more in your cooking, or, a little bit in a bath. But it's not to stress over. It's just to enjoy and start where you can and enjoy the plants in any form, whether they're live or you take them internally or you apply them topically. That's the magic. They hold the wisdom of the universe, and they're here to support us in whatever form and in whatever means that we can connect with them.
That's beautiful. Yes. We all need to get back to nature, and it just holds all the answers.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Yes.
Thank you, so Joan. I thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. I've so enjoyed talking to you.
And if you want more information about Andrea, you want to get a consultation, you can go to her website, herbsfromtheheart.com, or you can call her at area code 480-276-0199. And for next week's show, I will have Dr. Carly Newday and Nevin Eckert to talk to us about water and how it affects our health and enlightenment. And every plant needs water because water carries information. Thanks for joining us today. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Much love, everyone.